Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for supporting our videos, our channel, and of course being part of this great family. January 2024 was the month that was set out for the 1,000 Kenyan police officers to be deployed in Haiti. And that was supposed to be done by 26th of January. But a latest report by a Belgian-based international crisis group, ICG, this weekend is coming hot in the heels of that move, warning President William Ruto that Kenyan police officers would face insurmountable challenges should they be deployed to Haiti. And they're saying Kenya rather think about that move twice. Well, Ruto has already committed to the international community that Kenya will bring peace to the gang-infested Caribbean nation. The Belgian group is warning Kenyan officers that the situation in ground is actually not guaranteeing their security. And I want to give the details of this. I remember this was a very emotive factor. This was a very emotive thing in the month of October until Kenyans, I think media gave it a bit of a blackout. But just before that, before I delve deep into that details, there is something that happened in this country, and the rate of homicide, people being killed, is alarming. I've decided to share this flip side of a CCTV footage showing how a starlet Waho, how this young girl was, what transpired in a hotel where she spent with a gentleman who is a key suspect in the murder. I just want us to take some minutes and look at that and look at how Kenyans look at it.
Nakulaje kusimamisha msika ground floor hiyo. Kwanza unakosaje kusimamisha msika kama huyo? Kuna kulikuwa na watu. Akaangalia wakashindwa rada, wakashangaa rada. Play pale hivyo. Suna ebweke hiyo nje. Cheki pati. Cheki venye watu walikuwa wanamwangalia. Mimi ningekuwa nimeshampini. Kai. Guyo radiata korora ya dula. Oh kai. Tunarekodi. Bali na niuma. Mimi naona hapo hivyo. Ai hiyo kodi. Ndio hiyo ndio ngona ya kachomo. Domo kachi. Tatia kodi kodi.
There is something about that video. When the suspect was leaving that house, despite the fact that he had some blood stain, bruises of blood, But he just left where others were just staring at him. In fact, no one even cared to, find out what had happened. And they left there. So it raised more questions than answers about that. And that is what transpired when Starlet Wahu died. That was a flip side. And may God condole with the family during this trying moment. The 1,000 officers, according to the Belgian group, are set to be deployed will face internal sabotage from the Haitian government, as the report identified corruption between Haitian police, politicians, and gangs raining terror on the vulnerable population. It opens the lid on the danger that awaits our men and women who will risk it all to restore peace in the troubled Caribbean nation. ICJ further said that the country was experiencing overcrowded prisons, and apart from police officers being compromised, they are outnumbered by the gangs. And despite the fact that and the mission that Kenya is going to lead there, they will find it impossible to protect civilians from urban warfare. The police are completely outnumbered by the gangs, the report warned, saying the gangs have also taken over 80% of operation at the Haitian capital port of Prince. Where are the prison facilities to put thousands of gang members? Is the international community suggesting that we will kill these lads? The argument here is this: the prisons in Haiti are already overcrowded. So if Kenya is going to run an operation, a military-like operation or a guerrilla war operation on these gangs, then if they are arrested, where will they be taken? Because the prisons are already crowded. And in fact, if you take them to that prison, they might again continue to infiltrate even the prisoners that are there and continue with devices, continue selling or rather preaching devices. So the Belgian nation is asking Kenya, when you go there, the prisons are full, and when you arrest these gang members, where will you take them? Or do you mean that you guys are going to kill the gang members? They're saying, what structures are in place to reintegrate these young people into the society? They're asking. How are you going to integrate them, even if after arrest, the society? They're saying Kenya is expected to be boosted by troops from Burundi, Chad, Senegal, Jamaica, and Belize in the peacekeeping mission in Haiti. And of course, despite of different court cases were filed against Haiti mission, remember Nakuru court filed a case in High Court. The government has remained committed on making sure that Haiti mission continues. But the Belgian group is raising more daring questions that I think any sensible and responsible government cannot afford to ignore. Even if we don't have an answer, according to them, they're asking, what is the buffer? What we Kenyans have, with these security officers have a buffer zone. This report has come at a time when we are actually, weeks, more than just less than 2 weeks to the start of that operation, and it's coming out to warn that maybe it may not be worth it. And so I want us to look at this keenly and deeply to interrogate what exactly is here, or what Kenya must actually put into place. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell and like our videos. Thank you very much for supporting us. Kindly subscribe. I believe that we should be able to click 60,000 in this January. I think it will be a very good achievement for us, so that by this year we'll be looking for 40,000 subscribers, so that by December 2024 I think we should have clicked the 100,000 subscription mark. I believe it is something that is possible. So kindly subscribe, continue sharing, share this with your friends, share this in your WhatsApp groups, and I'm glad for those who are still taking up the initiative of sharing our videos with their friends and relatives. What am I seeing? What are you seeing where you are? There's some 4 aspects we need to put into the place. Kenya's first guaranteed minimum, irreducible minimum, or the soldiers' irreducible minimum before even settling for Haiti should be guaranteed security, their security structure. You can only secure if even yourself you feel you are secure in the mission. How do you go to a country where someone is already saying that corruption has infiltrated the system and elements within government are even colluding the police and some of the gangs to rain terror on the populace? And how safe are we? Why would we throw ourselves into a mission that already people, the residents, or the people that are supposed to ensure that there is peace there, do not seem to be committed in even bringing that peace? So guaranteed security, if you compare this with the other UN sanctioned missions, there is always a very well laid down structure. But here it's like we are taking our men and women, just throwing them in the jungle. Much of the work needs to be done. The problem with corruption, or rather with mistrust between the government, the police, and the gangs, and all those other stakeholders in the Haiti and in the Caribbean nation, is that it means the operation can fail due to intelligence lapses. If people don't agree, they're likely to experience intelligence lapses, and that's not a very good place to be if you're doing a mission. My second observation, interpretation of this report: this mission, as much as our country Kenya, we are pushing it as an agenda, as a collective agenda of the global community, but I think it's facing criticism and opposition from some quarters. Because I asked one of us here, some very renowned policy expert, why is this report being released now? What is the objective of this report? Because clearly the author is telling Kenya to stop, not to participate in that mission. That's what directly the author is telling the Kenyan authorities. And remember, it is not new. Even some civil society organizations in that country have been warning the forces that the situation is not as they really think it is, and they should think twice before even settling there. And this one, and on this note, I think Kenya must really interrogate, and they must question. William Ruto should pose a question. This mission was highly pushed by the America, and America is one of the beneficiaries, allegedly one of the beneficiaries of this gang, these rocketeers that actually have infested the Haiti. They're asking, who is manufacturing guns? Guns are manufactured other neighboring countries. How are these guns smuggled? Who is benefiting from these guns? There have been previous attempts to neutralize these guns, but all those attempts failed, including an attempt by the United States of America. So this report is not one that you can read, can flash through, and you fail to ask yourself some very important questions. There's some tough questions that us as a country, we must ask ourselves. Otherwise, we are getting into a very dangerous zone. Remember, we are sending Kenya police, and the greatest fear is that we are sending men and women who are not so much familiar with such operations. I don't remember when we had to, and if we meanwhile we would have even sent our military, but because of maybe the pay is also near. Kenyans' operation objectives must be set out clearly. What are we going to do, and what should we achieve within what time frame, so that we stick to that? Probably that would help us to reduce the hostility. That would also help us to reduce, the friction between us and the locals. If we have achieved, we can go and we may not give, are we going for to stabilize peace, or we're going to protect government structures so that by the time we leave, we ensure that probably as an election is conducted there and the country then is having a stable government? Or we are just going to neutralize these forces? Those questions we must ask as a question. Lastly, I'm seeing very well that Kenya must not play the lead role, because division within the Haitian authorities is a poison chalice in this mission. It's a bad poison chalice of this mission. And remember, other countries are there. Chad, Burundi, Senegal, they're also taking their soldiers. But why is it that Kenya is the one being warned? So we can play a last minute trigger, and probably we must not be the people in the forefront. Those are just my thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think about this warning from the Belgian nation? Remember, William Ruto last year went to Belgium and even talked with the African Union, with the European Union, for them to back or rather to support that mission. But just a few months later, such a report is emerging. And of course, at times, it's the reality. It's just a warning that maybe we need to listen to. It will be a very bad precedence. If we fail to, then we get ourselves in bigger trouble. Thank you.